It's the end of January, which means all of the exciting New Year's energy has officially worn off. I don't know about you, but in my opinion, this is the most important month to do a big end of month reset to just bring us back to the goals that we set at the beginning of the year. Prepping for this video just reminded me how much chaos can actually happen in 30 days. So in this video, we're going to be resetting both my life and my finances. I'll show you how I reset my Notion planner, my goals, my habit tracker, my budget template, everything that I use to stay organized throughout the month. We're doing a gigantic reset, so let's get into it. Today is what I like to call my monthly admin day. This is something that I rolled out at the beginning of 2024, and I've actually heard some people call this a CEO day. But basically the idea is to clear off your calendar for an entire day and dedicate the entire day to planning, organizing, setting goals, reflecting on last month. The reason why I implemented a monthly admin day at the beginning of 2024 is because I realized one thing that I'm really bad at is putting off small little life kind of like admin tasks that don't actually take that much time to get done. It'll only take you 10 or 15 minutes, but I put them off and I let them just like sit and build up in the back of my brain until everything feels chaotic and everything stresses me out. So in early 2024, what I started doing was I leave a little to-do list at the homepage of my Notion planner. And throughout the month, whenever I think of a little task like that, like scheduling a doctor's appointment, I leave them all in this running to-do list. And then I have my monthly admin day at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month to cross off all of the items on that to-do list and just go into the new month feeling super organized. So that's what today is. It's my monthly admin day, my CEO day, whatever you want to call it. Here's my schedule. Here's my plan for the day. It's 10 a.m. right now. I did have a few like work related things to do this morning. So I've been on my computer since like 7:30. But the rest of the day is completely dedicated to getting my life together before February. I always like to do my little monthly admin day at a coffee shop because I feel like the vibes are better there to just like knock out things that I really don't want to be doing. So looking at my to-do list on my Notion planner for things that I've been putting off all month. I have things like scheduling some appointments for my dog. I have a conference in March that I really need to book, like the conference, the hotel, the flight. And then the big one that has been staring at me the entire month of January is getting my taxes done. So that's going to be the big one, is like organizing all of my 1099s and gathering all of my tax documents to get that all sent off to my CPA. I also usually spend the rest of the time at the coffee shop getting both my life and my money organized by organizing all of the tabs in my Notion planner. This is between like filling out my calendar, organizing all of my weekly planner, setting my goals for February, checking in on the progress that I made toward my January goals and seeing if I hit those goals. And then I do the same thing on the money side. I pull up my budget template. I make sure all of my transactions are in there for January, and then I make any tweaks to my budget as necessary for February. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna head to a coffee shop for the next probably like 2 to 3 hours. And when I come back, I will show you guys exactly what I accomplished and how everything got reset for the month of February. And the only reason that I'm ever able to get anything done at a coffee shop is because my AirPods have the noise cancellation option. I used to never understand how people would work at coffee shops because it's so distracting. They're always so loud. But if you're not using the noise cancellation on your AirPods, you definitely need to be. It is so gray and gloomy and disgusting out in Nashville today. I feel like I never leave my house this time of year. I feel like in the summer I was so good about like working from a coffee shop consistently just to get out of my house and feel like a human, but I honestly haven't done it in so long. But I brought all of my stuff, so we're gonna post up there for a couple of hours. We're back, and that was honestly a super productive couple of hours. I got all of the big things that I needed to check off of my list checked off. Like my tax forms, a lot of that is squared away. I booked the conference, I booked all of my like pet appointments that needed to get done, and then I also made sure all of my income and expenses were in my budget template for the month. I'll show you around both my Notion planner where I have all of my calendars, I have my February goals, and I'll show you around my budget template so we can do a little money reset here as well. So I want to show you around my Notion planner and how I reset all of my pages at the end of the month to prep for the new month. I'm in the home screen of my Notion planner right now, and this is basically where both my monthly planner and then also my weekly planner lies. I spend like 10-15 minutes at the coffee shop resetting my Google Calendar as well, and I do use my Google Calendar, but I pretty much only use my Google Calendar for like meetings, like when people are on calls with me and I have to send calendar invites. I don't really use my Google Calendar for like tasks and events. That's what I use my Notion monthly planner for. If you scroll down here to my master calendar, you can see what I'm talking about here. I just went in and I put in all of the big like tasks and events that I know are coming up in the month of February. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty here of like all of my meetings and everything like that. This is just more so for me to like know if I have a big event going on one day. For example, my boyfriend's coming to visit at the end of the month. I have a flight on this day. When I am traveling, I'll put in who the dog sitter is that I booked for Bella so that I don't forget, because I use a couple different people. This does get pretty messy throughout the month, but at the beginning of the month, I like to take some time to figure out what I have going on that month and put it all in here so that I don't forget. The biggest benefit to this is if someone asks me to like make plans or something, I can look in here to see if I have anything going on that day or that night. So for example, I know that like the weekend of the 15th and the weekend of the 22nd, I have nothing going on. So if someone asks me to do something, I'll come in and I'll check in here. This is the little to-do list that I was talking about for my monthly admin day. I call it my like miscellaneous to-do list. Basically throughout the month, I'll come in here and I'll put random little like tasks and projects that I need to get to. I just like can't get to right that second. So I crossed off a couple of these, and basically what I'll do is I'll just delete the ones that I crossed off. And then that way I can essentially like start a new running list for the next month. When you scroll down further, this is where we're entering into my weekly planner. And I did spend a little bit of time building out my weekly planner for next week. I obviously don't do this for like every week of the month right at the beginning of the month. I do it week by week. This is a weekly view of the master calendar. And then when you scroll down, you have this weekly planner button. So if you hit this weekly planner, a new weekly planner will populate, but I don't need that right now. It's the one that I started filling out for next week. And at the beginning of the week, I always fill out both my meal plan and my workout plan. Traveling Wednesday through Sunday, so I didn't fill out my meal plan for that since I won't be here. I also put my workout plan. I do have a workout class scheduled on Tuesday, so I just kind of like built my weekly workout schedule based on that. And like I said, I am traveling, so I'm not going to be in for work Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So I only filled out Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Since I won't be in later in the week, I'm treating Sunday like basically as a full work day, honestly kind of tomorrow as well too. I just mapped out the overarching tasks that I know I need to complete on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to get everything done. The weekly goals, I really like having this here, and I try to only put like 1 or 2 things and save this for like bigger projects. As for the rest of these buttons over here, so this page links to my monthly tab. So what I did was I came in here and I hit edit link, and I switched that from January to February just by searching my February page. So now this button links straight to my February page, as opposed to last month, this picture linked to my January page. And here I have my business income and expense tracker. I didn't have to do anything with that because I typically track everything on a quarterly basis when I go to pay my quarterly taxes. I have my work hub in here, and you can let me know if you want to see a video on like how I organize all of like my content stuff and like business planning and everything. This isn't like the most organized thing in the world, so like really show it in videos, and it's also not included in my template. This is something that I built on my own. I could do an entire separate video on what I include in my work hub. For habits and routines, there's nothing that I really did here in terms of like resetting, but there is one thing that I wanted to mention. Like I said at the beginning of the week, I use that weekly planner to map out all of my meals, and typically how I find those meals is by my meal tracker that's included in my habits and routines page. So these are all recipes that I have put into this meal tracker, and I keep adding to these as I find new recipes that I either want to try or I have tried and I love. To figure out which meals I want to make next week, I came in here and I just looked through them and I picked a couple that sounded good. And then last, on the life reset side, we're going to go into the future you page because I did some work in there. This is where, again, I keep my February page, my vision boards, all of that. So I did a little bit of resetting in here as well. This is what the future you page looks like in my Notion template. This is essentially like my goal planning page in Notion. The thing that I wanted to talk about was resetting my vision board. And if you did not watch the Plan With Me YouTube video that I posted at the beginning of January, you could definitely go check that out. I talk about kind of like my strategy and how I create my vision boards and all of that. Essentially in that video, I was talking about how my digital vision boards I like to do on a quarterly basis. I created this vision board at the beginning of Q1, and then I will like completely start from scratch and redo it at the beginning of Q2. However, when I was doing my little monthly reset, I sat down and I was like, does this vision board still reflect all of my goals? Because as you're gonna see, I updated a lot of my quarterly goals as well. And I was like, I think I need to make a couple little tweaks just to like refresh it a little bit, not completely start from scratch, but I changed, I think like 6 total photos. So what I did was I came into my Canva template, which this template is included in my Notion planner template as well. I just updated, like I said, 6 photos. I didn't start from scratch. It took me 2 seconds to find the photos on Pinterest that were kind of like going along with the goals that I changed. I actually took out a lot of like the lifestyle photos photos and added in a lot more like businessy related photos for this month, because honestly, when I'm looking at February, like that's where my focus is right now. So I added in this little photo that said like plan, action. January is going to be about taking action for me. I won't go into too much detail into all of the different photos because they represent the goals that we're going to talk about in a second. So basically what I'll do is I will download this. And I will hit replace, upload file, upload. As you can see, it's very similar, but I just tweaked a couple of the photos to more accurately represent what this month is about. I also use this digital vision board as my computer background, so I'll go in and I'll update all of those as well. Now scrolling down into my quarterly pages, I'm going to click into the February page, and I do have that little button on my home screen so I can go directly to February. Before I go into the February card, I have all of my goals for Q1 just listed out right here, and I did make a couple of updates to these as well. On the personal side, I took out one and I replaced it with 3 fitness classes per week. Business side, I kept these to 100K YouTube subscribers and 200K Instagram followers. But then I had a different business related goal that honestly just like didn't fit my product roadmap anymore. Updated them to the first one being finishing all of my branding by the end of Q1, and then also having all of my products outlined and the roadmap set up to be able to launch in June. I'm gonna click into my February page, and I did some work on this in the coffee shop, so I'll show you exactly what my goals are and all of that. At the February page, I have all of the goals for the quarter just listed again here so that I can see them and I can reference them when I'm creating my goals for the month. My monthly goals should be related to my quarterly goals. And then I have all of my goals for February, and I can talk through them and show you guys kind of like what I'm working toward over the next, I guess, 28 days. On the side, I didn't have too much here. Again, I said 3 fitness classes per week, and this is big for me. I really want to get much more into fitness classes in 2025. And in January, it was kind of like a weird month. I was like strictly going to the gym. My workouts were like honestly super average. So putting a lot more of an emphasis on fitness classes this month. And one on the personal side is that my boyfriend and I decided that we wanted to try to go to Europe in July. It's my goal in February to plan out that entire trip so that we're prepared to go in July. As you can see, most of my goals for this month are career-based, which is why I made all of the updates that I did to my vision board and all of that. The first 2 are 150 Instagram followers and 30K YouTube subscribers. That's obviously working toward my overarching Q1 goals for follower growth. The next one is 70K secured in brand deals, which would definitely be like my highest month. I'm currently negotiating with a brand for a like pretty good long-term deal, which would be like significantly higher than most of my kind of like one-off partnerships. So I really want to push myself to hit that number in February. These 2, I'm not going to go into like too much detail, but again, I'm preparing to launch some products in June, and I'm like starting to develop that roadmap for how I'm going to be able to launch in June. A few like tactical things that I need to get done in February. Posting 8 YouTube videos, submitting all of my tax forms. I did do a lot of work on my taxes today at the coffee shop, but there's a couple of tax forms that I don't have yet. So I need to make sure I organize all of that by the time they're due on February 15th. The last one, this is my only money related goal for this month. Like very close to like completely being done saving for a down payment on a home. I have my closing costs covered. I'm starting to save in like a moving fund. There's a little bit more that I need to save for the home down payment, which I don't need the money until approximately like June, but I really want to get that squared away so that I can start the process of looking for a home. And then below here, I like to spend a little bit of time at the end of the month reflecting on how last month went. If you don't do this, honestly, it makes you feel so good. It makes you just like remember how much can honestly get done in 30 days. I made a lot of progress toward my goals in January. And when you just kind of like glaze over that and start fresh with a new month, it like discounts all the work that you did. And I know for me, it's super motivational to be like, wow, I had a really good month and I can have an even better one next month. And last, a monthly reset would obviously not be complete without reviewing how much money we spent last month. If you've been following along to my channel, you know I make a ton of budgeting content. I love budgeting. I love my budget templates so much. Use a it consistently throughout the month to track my spending, but at the end of the month, I like to do kind of like one more look through to make sure I have all of my expenses in here. Because then I like to spend a couple of minutes at the end of the month really reflecting on, okay, how much money did I make this month? And then how much money did I spend? Like, where did my money actually go this month? And what did I spend my money on? Here we are in my budget template, and I'm not going to go through all of the tabs of the template. If you want to see how this template works, check out my budget with me video, and I talked about this template in very great detail there. We're actually going to go over to the January tab because that's the tab that I spent some time going through this morning in the coffee shop. Just again, making sure all of my expenses were in here and I had a really good picture of where my money went this month. Let's talk through it. This is exactly how much money I spent in the month of January. For my income, I am salaried through my business, so my income is always the same. It comes out to $6,741 with the needs and the wants, which are down here. That's like where all of my expenses are because that's the exciting stuff. In these little total boxes, like pretty immediately, whether or not you were under budget or over budget. And as you can see, I'm like slightly over budget on both the needs and the wants this month, which it is what it is. I'm not super upset about it. It could be significantly worse. I can take a look at exactly where and why I did go over my budget. My rent is always $2,300 a month. That does include like my amenity fee and then also a couple little like utilities. The other utilities that I pay are electric and Wi-Fi. I pay $52 in electric this month because it's winter and I'm not like running my ACs. Groceries, this was like a super high month for groceries. I spent $586 on groceries this month, and my like max budget for groceries is usually $400. Some months I can get away with doing like $300 or $350. What I do like about tracking my spending this way is when I do have like a category that's significantly over budget, I can come back into this transactions log where I logged all of my spending and I can see exactly why it is that I did go over my spending. The biggest reason for that is that I honestly just went to the grocery store like so many times this month. There was one extra week in January, so like that played a factor. I had one gigantic grocery haul in here that was $190 here. And that was because my boyfriend was coming to stay with me for literally an entire week, and boys are expensive to feed. I also hosted my friends a couple times this month. I believe it was 3 times that I hosted, and each time I went to the grocery store and like picked up things to make snacks, make dinner, whatever it may be. I'm not upset with the number. It's not like I was like spending stupidly. It did have a purpose. And groceries are also kind of one of those things that like it feels like productive spend to me. I do eat pretty healthy. I like appreciate what I eat and what I fuel my body with. $586 is definitely pricey, but it was for a good reason. $145 on gas, and I feel like that's probably the most I've spent on gas in a month in like so long. I did have a road trip from Pittsburgh to Nashville at the beginning of January, and then I was like driving a lot, doing like random things throughout the month, and it was also again a long month. And then pet insurance and renter's insurance are always the same. On the one side, again, I came in a little bit over budget here, and there's one big reason for that. I actually did come under in both food and drinks and shopping, and like significantly under, which I did decrease my food and drink and my shopping budget for the month of January and also for the month of February because it's winter and I'm like not doing as many social things, but I only spent $187 on food and drinks and $228 shopping this month. I spent $150 on fitness, $100 on subscriptions. I signed up for like a car wash membership, so I'm gonna have to go in and like look at all of my subscriptions and probably need to increase my monthly budget because I honestly don't think there's any subscriptions that I'm paying for that I like don't use and get good use out of. Also on pet items, I spent $159. This was just a mix of, I went to Walmart to get some glass meal prep containers and then I placed an Amazon order. And then miscellaneous wants is really where I went over budget. As you can see, I'm at 258% over my budget. The biggest reason for that was because 500 of this was health related expenses. I got a bunch of lab work done for $500 in January, which my insurance doesn't cover. My best friend is a dietitian and she does a bunch of lab work to essentially like check on your gut health. And January is the best time to just like make all of your doctor's appointments, make sure everything is all good in your body and all of that. So good money spent. I'm glad I did it. And then finally, under savings and investments, these are the savings and the investments that automatically go to my savings account and my investment account every month. As you can see, so far this month, I saved $800 and I invested $200. So right now, what is automated in my financial system is $800 automatically goes into a sinking fund in my high yield savings account right now. That sinking fund is specifically for moving. So I know $800 $200 every single month I'm putting away toward when I move into my home. On the investment side, I have a $200 automatic investment going into my brokerage account right now. That's all I have logged in the template so far. With that, you can see with my income, after my expenses, after my savings and investments, I still have $1,040 left over. This is the point in the month where I look at that number and I say, okay, what do I want to do with it? Basically, again, since I am preparing to move and I'm still trying to finalize my down payment money, it's going to go straight into my down payment fund. So there's really nothing exciting there, but I do like to wait until the end of the month and see, okay, what did I make? What did I spend? And what do I want to do with the leftover money? And that brings us to the end of my February monthly reset. This honestly doesn't take that much time. I said I started this at 10 a.m. and it is 1:45 right now, and I was filming this, so that made the process a lot longer. I do like to clear my calendar or at least get all of my work stuff done very, very early in the morning so that I have the whole day to do this. But it honestly does not take that much time. You could spend a Saturday morning for a couple of hours in a coffee shop, having your little CEO day resetting and just making yourself very digitally organized to prepare for the next month. I will put both of the templates that I used in today's video in the description of this video. And if you enjoyed this video, I would so appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to my channel, and thanks for following along.